Living that life. We just living that life. Parking plots, living that life. We just living that life.
Now, let's go into parte numero dos as the sun sets here in Bali. Look at that.
Bali sunsets, baby.
Woo.
Nice.
Last time I saw you was January 2020, and then boom, February, the whole Rona hit. So I've been thinking about doing this 2020 recap video for myself. So let's do that right now. I wanted to reflect just for myself on my whole year of 2020. I actually lived in 6 different places in 2020, which was like the supposedly the year where travel was like closed. I still had a year full of like travel and moving around. Businesses grew, started more businesses. So my 2020 was crazy. And I didn't want to do this video by myself. So I wanted to hit up the homie Evan to be my co-host or whatever. And if you're just tuning in, we just did a full interview with him about his 2020 and how his copywriting business has grown in 2020, and he's living in Georgia, and tips on if you want to become a copywriter, direct response copywriter, how to do that. But anyway, so just to summarize it to myself, and then Evan will pick my brain even further. I started off 2020 January in Chiang Mai, and then went to back to Bangkok in March, and that's when Corona hit. And that was the most stressful time of my life. Like, I remember it was like mid-April when Corona like just started popping in the US. And I remember everyone remembers that day where the NBA got canceled. And they're like, and so that was the most. I mean, I've had a pretty lucky, pretty blessed life, and having no huge tragedies or whatever. But I just, looking back, that was the one of the most stressful, probably the most stressful moment in my life, where I had to decide: do I stay in Thailand and Bangkok, or do I emergency fly home? And it was like a week where like Parker was in Bangkok as well, and he was like, we're going back and forth. Like, you're gonna stay, you're gonna go home, and you're gonna stay, you're gonna go home. Parker elected to fly home. So he did like 4 months.
We had this chat too around this time. We were talking, both of us as well. Like, I remember when Park flew home, and you were trying to figure out if you're going to do that, but you kind of were quarantining yourself in the nice condo that you had, and you're like, yeah, screw it, I'll just stay here, whatever. So I remember we were chatting on video, and around that time it's floating by.
Yeah, that was a crazy time, you know. I haven't expanded on this, but yeah, I wanted to revisit it before it gets too late into 2021. But yeah, we'll never forget that. But I think I made the great decision, because I did have the apartment, the Airbnb I was living in had that big penthouse, basically co-working space. It was basically all to myself every day.
It was empty,
so it was that, and just the. Going back to the US, I would have had to, self-quarantine basically, because you don't know, you don't want to give it to your parents and your grandparents, and like, so you're going to have to like do a week or 2 quarantine. Because like, I remember in the back of my mind, it was like, worst case scenario is I fly back home, and then like I'm not showing symptoms, but I'm a carrier, and I give it to my parents, and I get sick and die. So I was like, okay. We played safe, stick it out here in Bangkok.
Yeah, we also didn't know like a whole lot of the risk as well. We didn't know exactly like what we know now. Everyone forgets this, but we also forget that, I just said the same thing. So everyone forgets that we have like such a quick knowledge over the year that it seems like everything is normal. Like after a year, we know a lot more about this virus than we did at April. So April, we're just like, oh my God, we don't even know what this is. This thing is novel. Like, it's part of the SARS-CoV-2 thing. Okay, we don't know about what this implication is. So I don't think we even knew around April or May or whatever that it's more susceptible for people over, 60 plus. Like, it may have been out already, but we didn't know how contagious it was, what the symptoms were really going to be or whatever. So yeah, I had the same type of thing where I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to stay put, but I'm contemplating flying home. But even then, if I do, I don't want to risk for anyone that I bring it to possibly,
Yeah. So yeah, it stayed there, Bangkok for, basically 4 or 5 months there in Bangkok. And it was just a grind, it was just like kind of normal, except you just there's no nightlife, and you're not working in a cafe. You're just kind of working from home. And luckily, I had that basically co-working space in my building, so it's just like working there every day. And for half of the lockdown in Bangkok, Starbucks was open. For the middle chunk of it, it was just takeaway only. But then towards the end, it opened up again. Anyway, long story short, lockdown wasn't bad in Bangkok. Yes, gyms were closed like pretty much everywhere, but it was like 4 months in Bangkok, and then went home for July as usual, and then Croatia for 2 months because they were open to American tourists, and then Turkey turned into 3 months because they're also
which you were my neighbors, dude. You were my neighbor for so long, but that border was closed for Georgia forever. Still, I think.
I looked at it. I was looking at the situation. We were talking a little bit if I would come visit, but I'll make it there someday, sometime. And then boom, got the Bali visa a month before they closed the borders here. So, but actually just today, a couple hours ago, I just heard they're starting to process and accept the visa applications as well.
What's the visa you're on? What did you get? Was that just tourist, like a double stamp 60-day thing, or did you do like a year social?
There's no tourist visas, but you can get a business visa.
Okay, so year?
You can get a business visa. It's a 2-month business visa, but you can extend it twice, so 6 months total. I had a friend referred me to their visa agent, and they arrange it and everything. You can get a business visa. That's possible. Now chilling in this gigantic Starbucks. Actually,
that looks dope,
dude. Just discovered this. Actually,
Chengdu,
I was
right?
just this is actually in Kuta, and I'm down here because
Kuta.
I was just actually at immigration extending my visa a few hours ago. So on the way back, stopped here in Kuta. There's this brand new build Starbucks that I'm in right now. It's the biggest Starbucks I've ever seen by 2 to 3 times. It's ridiculous.
Whoa.
Super cool.
It's like Riley's heaven, bro.
Yeah, my heaven. So I was like, let me stay here, get a nice Starbucks view. It's a blessing. So I was in like 6 different places. I was in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, back home, so Seattle / Bellevue, and then Croatia, and then Turkey, and then Bali. So 6 different places in 2020. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. And during Bangkok, I created a new business, updated my Amazon course, changed the name from the Amazon method, which you made the original logo for.
Oh, yeah.
2015.
Throwback.
When I first launched it in 2015, 2016, rebranded it into 90-day FBA, found a new business partner for that, launched it, went through 3 different groups of like 5 people average each of a 90-day mastermind, boom, and some were overlapping. So started a whole new business during Corona on lockdown. Nice. And then got to Croatia, which is freaking amazing. It was summertime, just sipping espressos by the yachts there every morning with Danny and Parker. We freaking bounced out there ASAP because they were both home for Danny was home for over 6 months. And Parker was home for 4-ish months, which is his longest time home, in 6 years. So he was itching to get the fuck out of there. Yeah. So they did research and they're like, yeah, Croatia's it's open. Let's go. So we flew right out there, and Croatia was freaking amazing. There was no lockdown at all for the first few weeks. Nightlife was all night. And then they stopped nightlife and everything closed at 12. But we're still we did the day parties and the beach parties until 12.
Closing nightlife is the equivalent to kicking Riley out. They're like, all right, nightlife's closed. Riley's like, all right, next country, deuces.
Yeah, peace. But anyway, and then during that whole process, we decided to, in Croatia, we were masterminding and decided to register our agency. Register our agency in Thailand. So that's actually going on right now, which is why Danny Parker in Bangkok now. Yeah. But I couldn't go because they only allow two applicants to go to register your company. So I was like, all right, I'll hang back. I'll go to Turkey. I'll go to Istanbul. I'll go to Bali. But the nearest place that I can get my Bali visa, the nearest Indonesian embassy was Istanbul from Croatia. So that's why I went to Istanbul just to pick up the visa real quick. So it was just going to be a 2 weeks stopover real quick in Istanbul. I ended up falling in love with it, meeting a super cool tour guide girl. She introduced me to some friends, a couple other like homies, friends of friends were there. It's turned into 3 months. It stayed my whole visa 90 days out. Just released the Istanbul review video a couple days ago, kind of summarizing that. That was amazing. But and then Bali, which is where I am now. But back up to July, and back home in July, my agency blew up because I think one of the main reasons was because I was able to reply to Upwork messages for the first time right away, on my phone, on the computer, because it's American clients. I was on American time zone for the first time doing the agency. And so, boom, we got like 4 new clients in July. Boom, profile goes top rated. And then from July, August was on fire as well. Invites, leads coming in every day. Croatia was so sick. Like in the evenings, I was on calls pretty much every night, 1 or 2 calls, sales calls, discos. So onboarded like a handful of new clients. But so my agency blew up during 2020. So it's been crazy. As I said, got a bunch of new clients during Croatia and Turkey. So like the big picture is 2020 was my busiest year in business ever. My busiest. Busy is kind of a good and a bad word, but like, yeah, it was good. Whole new course business, whole new, the agency is now on the next level. Like it's now, look at the agency. We have a full-time American and guy for the first time. So that's a huge milestone. He now has an intern that works with him a couple of days a week, part-time.
What's your offering like specifically? What are you packaging and selling to the clients? And is it like what's the model? Is that on retainer? And like, what are you delivering for them and stuff like that?
Retainer for Amazon PPC management and consulting.
Okay, nice.
So we're your Amazon PPC managers and also your Amazon consultants. So
did you niche down further to Amazon PPC? Because I think you were a lot more broad earlier, right? Or maybe.
No, it's just any Amazon seller, any brand selling on Amazon. But we kind of found our space in supplements because a lot of supplement companies, we happen to get a handful of supplement companies. And so now we're like, hey, now we're specialty of supplements. So like now it's even more of an attractor for more supplements brands.
Yeah.
So we've kind of found that little niche. Amazon PPC management, started off, at like 500 a month. In 2019, and then beginning of 2020, 500, 750 a month minimum, and now it's 1,500 a month minimum. That came around August, raised our minimum.
Nice. So you doubled your prices in August, basically.
Yeah. Basically, same as you were talking about. Just slowly raise your hourly rate, raise your minimum. So it's like, it's literally anything less than 1,500 a month is not worth our time.
Yeah. Do you find those clients are a little bit more like fun to work with, or they get better results, or they're more committed, or anything like that? Is it same as my findings, or is it different? Or
yeah. You want to work with brands that have big marketing budgets. Not people that are like on a budget. Where cash is. So it makes things makes things better. But of course, the business model is to work with big brands that are doing over $1 million in revenue a year. 1,500, 2K, 3K. Some of our clients are like 2K, 2.5K, 3K. Depends on the size of their store. That's the business model for sure. But agency blew up in October. We took on this like big client. It was like the most stressful month of my life. Like, oh my God. It was.
You just said April was, man. You can't take it back. You can't just say October was also the stressful month.
No. It was like October or April was like the most stressful, like life shit.
Yeah.
And like October was the most stressful I've ever been in business. Cause like my whole business up till now has been just selling my own products on Amazon. That's not stressful. So this is my first real in the thick of like a client people-based business.
Yeah.
You know, I guess since I was door-to-door selling, but they're not really your client. That's just like exchange done. So this is my first thing, and like we hired. It's actually a marketing agency, or basically just two guys that they got a big contract from a multinational supplement company, and they knew them, friend of friend of business contacts. They got a big contract to handle their Amazon channel. Then they went on Upwork and hired an Amazon marketing agency to outsource the work to. And there was this
Okay. Like a
huge
project manager sort of.
miscommunication. Yeah, it was this huge miscommunication about milestone-based contract versus retainer, and like, as you know, there's always miscommunication. It's part of learning, you know, in business.
You gotta be
and
real
life.
clear with the communication.
So, yeah,
difficult.
like and
Expectations.
it was part their fault and part my fault for like I didn't pick the brain deep enough, and ended up the scope of work ended up being 5x what I thought it was.
Yeah,
when I was
scope
charging
creep is a real thing.
5x
for sure.
Because we had to switch the Amazon account, and like we weren't aware of that when the hire took place. It was this whole thing, and then come like 1 or 2 months later, it was like, okay, we're spending 5x the amount of time on this. The price should be there. There's this whole fiasco about pricing, and like they were pissed. I was pissed. It was like, whoa, fucking stressful situation. So fucking that went down when I was in Istanbul. So yeah, big learning experience there. But now this week is actually their last week. We dropped them because it was way too stressful with the client. So we dropped them. Finally, they were begging for another month. But this 2 days from now will actually be their last official day. So that's kind of a mini
Sounding pretty excited. Excited for that one, yeah. I was gonna say that actually reminded me of something quite similar, because like July, I had a similar client as well, and like it broke all the rules of like what I thought was what we were just talking about. Like, okay, you have a good level, you get leverage for your time, you know, you have a professional, you know, client show up and all that, because the client was quite prepared, quite intelligent, quite well funded, and yet was still just not able to implement the copy that I was delivering. He didn't have the infrastructure in place. And he really was like trying to edit everything, like going line for line on every single document, trying to edit and rearrange everything all perfectly. And he paid me like, I don't know, it was over 8K for this one copy project. And I was like, dude, like you paid me 8Gs plus for this specific copy that you want me to write, and you want to edit every line and like tweak it and ruin it. Like he wouldn't even, my main rule as a writer is just like, dude, if you're going to put in the work that, you know, that it takes to prepare a campaign, and you're going to strategize it with a copywriter, and you're going to spend quite a bit of money to get it done, just run it first. Like, please test it and like let the market decide if it's working or not. At least do that at minimum of one time, because then we can start tweaking and angling and maybe revising. But he just wanted to like get all the work done and wasn't able to like really do it because he got so bogged down in the editing, which I've had to get a lot more clear to my clients about, like, look, don't edit this all crazy. Don't rip this up. Like every line and purpose and period and ellipses has a purpose specifically that I wrote in this way. And this is how the market should be responding. This is as tight as I can get to a match of the market, as like in the crosshairs of what I'm delivering and then what the market wants. So please just put it out there and just let them decide for themselves. But it just wouldn't happen, didn't work. And it was a huge scope creep, and we had to, you know, kind of reassess. But I definitely feel you on that, because I had the exact same experience. But it broke all the rules that I thought I had in my head. Similar to what you said, like they're a big multinational company, or the client's client is, at least. They got money out the ears. That's not a problem. They got the team to implement it, but it still turned out to be a pain in the ass. And so you got to just, and maybe you could help me, you know, because we're in a similar business model for the agency and the copy delivery stuff, like client work. Maybe you could help me brainstorm as well, for this specific reason, how you overcome one of those type of hurdles, and how you actually pre-screen clients, even if they have money, have, you know, infrastructure, and have the manpower to like implement it. How do you pre-screen clients to make sure they're not pain in the ass clients? I don't know the answer to that.
And we're getting better at that. And we also have on our team, I have a full-time European copywriter. She's actually in Bulgaria. She's also an Amazon marketer. And another full-time Philippines copywriter. She's an Amazon marketer. And another full-time graphic designer. She's in Hungary. So we're
Okay.
like 4, 5
Squad.
full-time team. But to your point of the filtering, I've been working on the last couple of weeks of forms and questionnaires. All about forms and questionnaires. The more detailed it can be, the more it's better for setting expectations. And one specific thing I'm adding to it is requirements. So just a set of requirements. We require full control over PPC strategy, and we require full control over copywriting. And
nice.
we require that our copywriting for the Amazon listings is not edited or in something
nice.
like, or otherwise we cannot guarantee results, because my copywriters, one of the big back and forths and their headaches was same exact thing you said. They want to change it, and they're like, no, you can't. Like, I know the rules. And so I'm just going to stick those things into my forms. And I just switched over to a Jot form, because I saw 2 agencies recently that I checked out using Jot form. It's super dope. You can even take payments at the end, little check boxes, signatures, so you can even use it for your contracting. So I'm building these Jot forms as surveys / onboarding questionnaires / even lead generation forms for the website. So
sweet. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you can just straight up ask them, like, are you a pain in the ass? No, just kidding. No, but that's a good one, because like I do have forms that they fill out and it's quite detailed. However, I think that is a great actionable strategy that I'm going to start tweaking, because I do need to set the expectation specifically that they're not going to be able to just stick their little hungry fingers in the pie and start messing everything up after I've baked it. Like, just test it. Like, the market needs to know the response. You need to get them. You need to know the response from the market, rather, because otherwise, dude, you don't know where it's going, and you're going to tweak something. What if it was going to work when you launched it, but you tweaked it before you launched it and you ruined it? Like, it's very, very rare that they're going to do it to make it even better. Like, and you do have to take some feedback. You have to listen to your clients, because they do know their business. And the more, further along down the road in terms of revenue and consistency and momentum that they have, they know their clients and customers better than you do if you're coming on board, of course. So you still have to have some synergy. But I definitely think I'm going to be working on implementing that action tip there, because that's clutch.
Yeah, it's a balance between working how you work and keeping clients happy. Because I was like, keeping people happy is half of the business model. So it's like, as long as they're happy, they're going to keep paying you. That's half of it. Just keeping them happy so they keep paying you, month after month. So it's just like, it's just relationship building, keeping people happy and confident with you. So I've added all these like little check marks. Like, literally they have to tick the box that says, like, I understand. I have this whole page on the Jot form of just like quick client understandings. I understand that we are human and we're not perfect, and thus we will make mistakes. I understand that we are not liable for any suspensions or things that may happen on your account. I understand that your dedicated point of contact will be the project manager. I just like basically take them through, streamlined all exactly how we work. Basically everything I've learned over the last 6 months of like the headaches, you just put that into the either the first survey before you even get on the disco call, or put that on the onboarding form before they pay. So if they start being a headache, you want to find out if they're going to be a headache even before they pay.
Of course.
And we have turned down headache clients, and that's a big part of my job, is to filter those headache clients and only take really, really good matches, because like we're in no rush. We want to have fewer clients but more high paying.
Quality over quantity.
A lot same. Same.
Yeah, I've been noticing the same thing. What you just said brought up 2 points. One of them is, if you get a new prospect and you don't know who they are specifically, you can start doing 2 different personality tests really quickly. One is the color code test, and one is the Myers-Briggs, like INFJ and ENTP and all that stuff. Because there's only 16 of those, you can kind of group them quite quickly before you want to assign them, maybe with your screening questions. And then a second thing I think that I thought of, I guess, is like, every client, maybe they teach you a new thing and then you didn't even know that was coming, but through experience, you might shape a new question based off that bad experience from the past client and start doing it next. And then the last thing I was going to say, actually I have 3 things, is that I'm actually trying to not be on calls as much anymore at all, because I used to offer like certain 60, 90-minute calls, consulting along the time where they could use my 2 hours or whatever throughout the 2 months that we'd be working together on a bigger high ticket project, like 10K or something. And I'll be like, you can use these anytime. We can call back and forth, whatever. And I'm getting to the point where I've axed those for the most part because I'm providing consulting with my actual feedback when I'm typing because it's just faster and I can clearly delineate the things that I want them to understand. And then secondly, is just screening people less, like screening them more through text and overview of chats rather than just getting on the phone, because you got to schedule in my Calendly. I got to like book it with you. We got to show up at that time, and it's obviously going to be mismatched if they're in the US. And personally, I just don't enjoy being on the phone at all. Obviously, I love stuff like this. I would talk to my best friends for 3 hours, but a client, I'm like, I don't want to like just use my time on the phone because it's not efficient. And it seems like efficient at first because let's just get up and we can talk about everything really quick and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of calls end up going over. A lot of people just want to spill everything that they have. Like you can just wrap this up quite nicely and just zip it to me and I'll be able to preview it in 20 minutes and know everything about your customer that I need to know, get up to speed on your brand, your market, your research, like it's way more efficient. So I'm really, a lot of people like, okay, hey, Evan, like, thanks for reaching out. Or, like I saw your this and that and the other, like, would you like to have a schedule of the call, blah, blah, blah. And like 90% of the time, I'm like, actually, I found it to be more efficient if you're able to just brief me with a background of your customer avatar, your product, your offer, and then we can get up to speed like that. And they say, most people are like, yeah, okay, cool. Some people are like, oh, sorry, I'd rather get on a call, but it's kind of rare. Like most people adapt to what I say. So it's like, okay, great. Because honestly, we don't need to talk on the phone for like 50 minutes to, understand what you're getting at. I get it. I've done this quite a long time and you've done this quite a long time. So let's just compare the best energies that we have to share the knowledge. We can get up to speed on each other quite quickly, if that makes sense.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. And I like how you have it on your website where it's like apply to chat with Evan and it's like apply to work with Evan. Our website is under construction and going to switch it to that kind of model where it's like apply to work with you. And then it takes you down a quick questionnaire where, you have some questions that obviously, screen them and forms. I love forms, dude. They're the best. It's like we have.
You have to share me your job form ones. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I'll show you the job form. We just had a little agency mastermind there. I know you. It's coming up on an hour total since the beginning. I know you got to run. You're out there with the. Oh, show your view for people still watching.
Got this one again. 1 second. Yeah, I'm up in the mountains, but I'm not working super hard. It's just like we got a couple things to do or some errands to run and just to enjoy the day, But I'm not doing much work at all. Like that's the window. Got it's like a little cabin hotel, basically, like wood, log cabin in the hotel, and they got breakfast, and they got the sauna, and they got the cold plunge and all that stuff, and like it's just been amazing. Like I'm just doing some R&R in the mountains. We're like 2,000 meters up roughly, and it's been great, dude.
Yep, Colorado kid kicking it in Georgia, but the other Georgia.
It's funny because I was actually born in Georgia too. Like I was born there. Not this one, but the other one. And then we moved to Colorado when I was younger, but like I was born in Atlanta. Nice. So it's kind of funny from going Georgia to Georgia full circle, but not the way you expect.
Nice. Who would have known? Who would have fucking known? I'm sitting in Indonesia right now in a Starbucks, Mr. Seattle, home of Starbucks. Yeah. Starbucks kids, Starbucks nomad. But anyway, that was dope. I got my 2020 reflection off my chest. It was crazy. 5 different countries: Thailand, USA, Croatia, Turkey, and Indonesia, all in 2020 during the pandemic. So I guess my summary of what I've been saying is like even now, beginning of 2021, hello people, there's still countries that are open. You can go to Mexico, tons of nomad friends there. Like Sri Lanka, I see a couple nomad friends are there. I don't know if the borders are open, but ask Google, where can I travel now? So more and more people are working remotely now, whether they're forced to or whether that was their goal anyway. You can still travel right now, guys.
The innovation has exploded as well past like 3 years. Like we were talking about crypto, of course, we were talking about travel, we were talking about remote work. Like these types of things have exploded because of 2020, I think like up to 3 to 5 years in advance. Because like I feel like we were going to be here around like 24, 25 because, 1 year of shutting everything down kind of made everything, everybody realized like, oh, wow, I don't, all the quantitative easing is crazy. So that's like flooding more into the crypto stuff. Money's flooding into asset prices like stocks because the cash is, less useful or less valuable. It's like a melting ice cube. And then the remote work, obviously people getting furloughed and whatever. And then companies being like, wait, why do we pay like 5, 10, 15, 20K a month for this office space? And we have a bunch of people coming in every day and commuting and using their life value and their lifetime to, sit in a box in the car on a highway, on an interstate. So yeah, I think this really catapulted everything for, 3 to 5 years in advance. And it's pretty cool to watch because we were positioned perfectly to do the capitalization on this, but most people weren't. However, most people were able, I feel like, to adapt to the remote work situation. And then obviously people into finance and investing started shifting their money into assets to grow because the fiat is, low value at the moment. It's just getting pumped to money printer go burr,
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah, that's a whole nother revolution we can talk about on another podcast. Crypto revolution, and then we got the AI revolution that's barreling into our living rooms and our lives. Like, holy shit, that's just getting started. That's a whole nother thing that's going to be changing our lives in the coming years and decades. That goes along with the overall technology revolution that we're, part of, working remote. And all you need is a freaking laptop, and you can be good. We've been living that 6 years now. Whew, crazy. You started at 20. I started at 25. Holy shit, I'm 31. Oh my God. Whew, time flies. But wow, 2020 flew by. Hopefully this pandemic shit settles down. But again, you guys, not everyone's dream is to travel and have an international lifestyle, but I think most of us. So young homies, like tag a friend in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever. Tag a friend that like wants to, I just say study abroad or live abroad. Like you can still do it right now during Corona. Just ask Google. Type it in Google or YouTube, what countries are open to visit / travel right now, and there will be a video or a blog post that breaks down the updates. Don't let this current situation stop you from doing what you want. Escape the lockdown life. Get out there. Get down to Mexico. At the very least, I know that's open, people. So get down there. Hit me up. I can connect you with friends, like whatever. Tons of people are up in Mexico right now, chilling.
Yes, sir.
So. Yes, sir. If you guys want to see my daily behind the scenes on in Bali, where I am right now, I'll be here for at least a little while. Hit me on Instagram at Living That Life TV, behind the scenes, and Evans at motiveandmotion.com. Hit him up, Ev. Let's do it again, and in a little bit. And see how much further we have grown. Because nothing's gonna stop us.
Exponential. It's exponential.
Yeah, buddy. Just getting started.
Yep.
All right, motherfucker. Let's hope this recorded. But either way, yeah. We'll talk soon.
Yo, by the way, I was wondering, when are you gonna go back to Bangkok? Because I knew you guys are setting up that business so you can stay for like 3 years. Like, what's the overview of that shit with the ins and outs? Like, how hard was it? Was it expensive? Like, how are you going to relocate?
Dude, Park and Lux masterminded the whole thing. I was like,
oh shit,
didn't even have anything to do with it, but they masterminded it. And I mean, hard's a relative term. It's hard to escape from poverty.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to register a business in Thailand? You just Google it and figure it out. So all during the 2 months in Croatia, they were figuring it out on the phone with lawyers and business agents to help you do that. And I should be good to go within a month or two. The whole process took 3 to 4 months. You register your digital agency there. There's some sort of program where they incentivize digital companies to come there, and boom, you get the visa, you get the work visa. So we'll have that through a 3-year visa or whatever. But if you want to know details, hit them up. But
yeah, for sure. I was just wondering because I mean, long term, I'm definitely considering doing something like that. I know that I've decided since I've been in Georgia, I don't want to go back to Thailand until I can like easily afford like a fucking elite visa and stay for 5 or 10 years, you know, or a business thing like this and just like actually plant down because I've recognized the value of staying in one place and being so comfortable that having a home. I never felt that in all those Asian countries. I felt it temporarily for 3 to 6 months at a time. But here, bro, 1 year straight solid has been just infinitely fucking valuable. So I've decided not even to go back to Asia until I can get some semi-permanent setups. I think your way starts to potentially bleed into a permanent residence. And I also was talking to Robbie and Nick a while back. I know that it got harder. Jacob was saying it got quite a bit harder. So I was wondering, you know, obviously you guys did it. I know one of my good friends, Maurice from Poland, just did the same thing for his business setup. Yep. So very interested in those long-term options and whatnot as I get more options and more elevation and all that. So yeah, just curious. But yeah, man, I'm really glad that you guys got it. That's gonna be fucking sick, like long-term.
Yep. Yeah. The whole what's it called? Flag theory or nomad capitalist?
Yeah, flag theory. Yeah.
You fall.
Yeah.
Search flag theory and nomad capitalist, guys, and I'm sure Evan's got some videos on his YouTube channel. So yeah, go check out Evan's channel as well. Hit him up. Anyways, cool. Yeah, I'm a bounce from Starbucks Palace right now. But yeah, come to yeah. I'll see you. You'll be back here. I'll see you in Bali or Bangkok or wherever.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sometime soon.
No doubt, bro. Peace, brother. Much love. Talk soon.
All right. Yeah. One.
Living that life. We just living that life. Talking plies, living that life. We just living that life. You're listening to the Living That Life Digital Nomad Podcast. Hit the subscribe button on iTunes if you're a boss. And check out the YouTube channel for dope travel videos. Let's get it.